and Becky Hammond. Asia Wilson just one of them.
It's starting to feel like Caitlin Clark's injury is a much bigger deal than anyone expected, and the more details come out, the more Indiana Fever fans are realizing that this could shape the rest of their season, maybe even their playoff hopes. For weeks, people have been asking, when is Caitlin Clark coming back? But here we are, more than a month later, and the answer is still frustratingly unclear. This story takes us straight to Indianapolis, where the WNBA's most hyped rookie has been forced to sit and watch her team battle without her. The Fever's star point guard has now missed her 11th consecutive game after suffering a right groin injury in a July 15th win over the Connecticut Sun. What makes the situation even more concerning is that this isn't just an isolated problem. Clark has already dealt with injuries to both quads and both sides of her groin earlier this season, which makes this stretch particularly brutal for the 23-year-old sensation, who came into the league with so much hype and expectation. Her head coach, Stephanie White, recently spoke to ESPN about Clark's status, and while she tried to sound optimistic, the reality still seems cloudy. According to White, Clark has been able to start some full-court running drills, which is a sign of progress. However, she still hasn't been cleared to participate in team practices. That's a critical detail because running and conditioning drills are one thing, but actual basketball practice, especially full contact, is a completely different step in the recovery process. White didn't give any timeline for her return, saying, "We're putting no timetable on it. It's day-to-day right now. The most important thing for us is Caitlin's long-term health, and getting her back to 100% before we put her back on the floor." That statement makes it very clear that the Fever are in no rush, even if fans are anxious. For many Fever supporters, that cautious approach has been frustrating. In the WNBA, where the regular season is only 40 games long, missing 11, and potentially more, is a massive blow to any team's chances of making a playoff push. The Fever's struggles without Clark have been obvious. While they've had moments of resilience, they're noticeably less fluid on offense, and the floor spacing isn't nearly as threatening without her elite passing and deep shooting range. On top of that, this is not the first time this season that the organization has been vague about her injuries. Earlier in the year, when she was dealing with muscle tightness and quad issues, the updates felt minimal, and fans were often left guessing. Now, as weeks go by without seeing her in uniform, many are starting to suspect there's more to the story than the team is willing to admit publicly. Clark herself hasn't been shy about admitting how difficult this has been for her mentally. In an interview, she said, "I've never really dealt with injury, and that's probably been a challenge in itself. I didn't know if I was just tight, getting old, or if it was something more." That's a telling comment. It shows she's still processing the reality of being sidelined, and it also hints at how unpredictable groin injuries can be. For some athletes, it's just a short-term setback, but for others, it can linger for months if not handled with extreme caution. Earlier in the month, some media outlets were optimistic, projecting a possible return date around August 12th, but now, even that seems overly hopeful. Clark is still not practicing with the team, and with only about 4 weeks left in the regular season, the clock is ticking. Sports doctors have been pointing out that groin strains are notoriously tricky. They can feel fine one day and then flare up with a single awkward step or change in direction. If an athlete tries to come back too soon, they risk which could mean an even longer absence. In a season where every game matters, that's a gamble the Fever clearly don't want to take. What's made the situation even more suspicious is the complete lack of workout footage. Normally, when a star player is rehabbing, teams will release short clips, maybe a 15-second video of them shooting, jogging, or doing light drills to reassure fans and control the narrative. In Clark's case, we've seen nothing. Not a single clip of her on the court since the injury. And let's be honest, in today's media environment, that's unusual. When organizations don't show you something for this long, it usually means they're holding something back, whether it's the severity of the injury, the slow pace of recovery, or even a strategic decision about the team's playoff approach. ESPN's Alexa Philippou recently shed a bit more light on things during a live segment. She confirmed that Clark has indeed been doing full court running in recent weeks, which is a step forward, but she's still completely absent from team activities and scrimmages. This means the ramp-up period for her eventual return will be longer, possibly a week or more, even after she's cleared. Considering she's already missed 11 games, and the Fever only have 11 regular season games left before the playoffs, the timing is tight. If she doesn't return soon, she may only get a handful of games to reacclimate before postseason play, assuming the Fever even secure a spot. The team's depth at guard has also taken a major hit. Season-ending injuries to Ari McDonald, Sydney Colson, and Chennedy Carter have left the Fever scrambling for backcourt options. That's put even more pressure on Kelsey Mitchell, who has been an offensive workhorse all season, averaging around 25 points a game and switching between point guard and shooting guard as needed. Mitchell has been sensational, but relying so heavily on one player is a risky formula, especially in a league where fatigue is a real factor. The 2024 season has already set a record with 44 games per team, and players across the league have been open about how draining the schedule has been. If we look at the current standings, things get even more interesting. The Minnesota Lynx have already locked up a playoff berth. The New York Liberty are sitting comfortably in second, and the Atlanta Dream are holding down third place. Meanwhile, the Fever are stuck in sixth, dangerously close to slipping into seventh or eighth. That might not sound catastrophic, but playoff seeding in the WNBA matters a lot, especially when you're facing elite teams in the first round. Dropping even 1 or 2 spots could mean an early exit, particularly without Clark at full strength. Behind the scenes, Clark has been working closely with the Fever's physical trainer, Keith Porter. From what's been described, she's doing individual drills at full speed, working on agility, lateral movement, and conditioning. The training plan is designed to maintain her cardiovascular fitness while avoiding movements that could aggravate the groin. That's all encouraging, but again, without footage or a public demonstration of her progress, fans are left to take the team's word for it. And for a fan base that's been kept in the dark before, that's a tough ask. Some analysts have even started speculating that the Fever might consider shutting Clark down for the rest of the season if there's any doubt about her readiness. It's a controversial idea, but it makes some sense. This is her rookie year, and she's not just the face of the Fever, she's arguably the biggest star in the WNBA right now. Her health is an investment not just for one season, but for the next decade. If playing her in late-season games risks aggravating the injury, the long-term consequences could be far worse than missing the playoffs this year. Of course, that's not a decision the team will announce lightly. The Fever are still in playoff contention, and the competitive nature of athletes like Clark means she's going to want to be out there as soon as possible. But the reality is that groin injuries don't heal on passion alone. They require patience, rest, and carefully managed recovery. The Fever's cautious approach, while frustrating, might be the best path forward, even if it means fans have to endure a few more weeks without seeing No. 22 on the court. And that brings us to the emotional side of this whole situation. Caitlin Clark came into the league with unprecedented attention, breaking college records, selling out arenas, and drawing national TV audiences for games that might not have gotten coverage otherwise. Her presence has been a huge boost for the WNBA, both financially and in terms of visibility. Every game she plays is not just about wins and losses, it's about momentum for the league as a whole. That's why her absence feels so heavy. It's not just the Fever missing their star, it's the league missing one of its biggest attractions during a pivotal moment in the season. The Fever's next few games will be critical, not only for their playoff chances but also for how they handle this situation publicly. If Clark remains sidelined with no clear updates, speculation will only grow louder. In the era of social media, where rumors spread faster than official statements, the team risks losing control of the narrative entirely. Transparency might be their best tool to keep fans on board, even if the news isn't what people want to hear. For now, all we can do is watch and wait. Clark's rehab continues behind closed doors. Her teammates keep grinding through the most demanding season in league history, and the Fever's playoff position hangs in the balance. Whether she returns in time to make an impact, or whether this becomes a lost season for the rookie phenom, remains to be seen. One thing's for sure, the next couple of weeks in Indianapolis are going to be tense, and the decisions made now could echo far beyond 2024. On 2024.
Got a 30-piece, folks. Make it 32. Here's McDonald.
The situation in Indiana is tense, and it's not just because of the uncertainty surrounding Caitlin Clark's injury, as if the Fever didn't have enough drama with their star rookie sidelined for over a month. The WNBA conversation has now taken a sharp turn into one of the league's spiciest ongoing debates, the idea of special treatment for certain players. And this time, that spark came courtesy of Phoenix Mercury's own Sophie Cunningham. who has never been shy about speaking her mind. Originally, I was going to make a separate video just for this Sophie story, but the more I thought about it, the more it made sense to roll it right into this bigger conversation. The truth is, it all ties together. The league's politics, officiating controversies, and how star players are treated compared to everyone else. Sophie's latest comments have already been stirring up reactions across the basketball community, from fans to analysts to former players, and you can bet the Paige Bueckers fans and the so-called UConn Mafia truthers are paying very close attention. But before we dive into what she had to say about Paige and the special whistle controversy, we need to rewind a little. On her podcast, Sophie was talking about a bit of tension that developed after some earlier comments she made about Dana Bonner and the Phoenix Mercury. There had been whispers about possible beef, and when asked directly if she thought it was connected to her last podcast episode, Sophie didn't hesitate. Hell yeah, 1000%. She was convinced that her previous remarks had stirred things up, even though she claimed she wasn't being overly harsh. The way Sophie tells it, there's already some friction between the Mercury and certain other teams, stemming from past roster moves, coaching changes, and lingering personal feelings. She admitted that she could have been way meaner, but chose to keep her comments relatively polite, at least by her standards. Still, she stood by her opinion that Dana could have handled the situation more professionally. A view, she says, was shared by pretty much everyone she spoke to outside of that specific team. In her mind, the reaction from the Mercury's side was just more proof that some squads thrive on drama. That set the stage for Sophie's next bombshell, this time aimed squarely at one of the most hyped rookies in the game, Paige Bueckers. Let's be clear, Sophie made sure to say she loves Paige, respects her game, and would love to play alongside her someday. But then came the part that set social media buzzing. She accused the referees of giving Paige every single call in a recent game. According to Sophie, you literally couldn't touch her without a whistle.